Hello YouTube, my name is General Advance, this is Dota 2 and this is an introduction to Enchantress. Enchantress is a jungling hero and generally seen as the counterpart to Chen. She does act in a slightly different way. Her basic heal is not her ultimate. It is also a heal over time and works in a slightly different way. Basically sends out 3 to 9 little wisps. Each of those will heal 10 per second in a radius of 275. Obviously if you're on your own you're going to get healed more. If other people with you then other people will get healed, but it will be less because the wisps will be split up. Now, as I said, Enchantress is a juggling hero, works pretty much the same way as Chen does, except her enchant basically doesn't give them extra health. It takes the creep as they are and then uses them for a fixed amount of time, which is 80 seconds, and it's fixed. It's always 80 seconds. So some people might think, oh, well, if you're just using enchant for that, then why would you level it up? Well, Enchantress, like all ganking hero, like all jungling heroes, should almost certainly gank lanes very early. This is true for Axe, this is true for loads of other heroes, so I get myself an Ursa here. Now, Enchantress's jungling isn't quite as fast as someone like Enigma or anything like that, but I actually prefer her. She's actually my favourite jungling hero, just because of her other spells and the way she's very, very adaptable to a lot of situations, and she's very good at a lot of different things. Generally, it's seen that you should get off very early ganks and very early... this is me failing my micro a little bit. I need to improve on this. I was going to stack this, but I just sort of missed the timer for it. I'm going to use the Ursa Clap and then just farm this lane up. This is not particularly amazing, efficient jungling or anything. As I said before in these videos, this is not about super amazing gameplay. This is about teaching people the basics and understanding how you can do well with heroes. So other people on my team got Slayer on the anti-mage. This isn't ideal because he's not a very good carry player. Baikal also on a Crystal Maiden supporting him. Not a great support player. They're both just, well, Baikal's very, very inexperienced. He's only been playing for a short while, and Slayer has positioning issues, is a big problem. Luckily, we have Ollie on mid and a Warlock, and some random dude on the long lane Tidehunter, who's rushing a Soul Ring, which I'm not personally a fan of, but it'll, you know, it works. I saw these guys weren't using their, they said they didn't really have the opportunity to use their pull camp because they were worried about Slayer dying. Anti-mages are very vulnerable in the early portion of the game, and I mean they're against a terrible dual lane, but the terrible dual lane could do stuff against them. So one thing you'll notice, I picked up stats at level 2 and then continue to upgrade Enchant. The reason for this is just because the passive Untouchable is generally skipped unless you're becoming more and more important in the team. Basically, Enchant is whenever you're attacked, it puts a attack slow on the enemy, and the attack slow can be very, very extreme. It goes from 20 scales up to 110, so really, really good attack slow, and we're looking for a gank here. So it's something really essential that you should try and do as Enchantress. You get the added bonus of this bloody great good creeps that you can pick up, as well as a really, really good slow, which means that you should aim to go for these things, so as soon as they go down that, and put the slow on them as well, and then just run in with right clicks and stuff. I'm also going to throw out a Satire Blast, I think here, just a little bit of an extra harass. Again, things like the Satire Blast and the Unholy Aura are essentially free, because, I mean, one thing that Enchantress does not have issues with in the early portion of the game is mana problems, especially if you're leveling up stats like I am doing. Trying to push the lane here as well. We were thinking about, I was saying, let's push this, come on guys, but the Invoker's going to TP back to the lane. We're not going to get any damage on this, so as soon as we see that the Invoker's back, I'm just going to back off and I'm going to go back to jungling. Item that I have picked up, I've picked up an urn. The reason for this is, like I said before, I'm again just trying to harass these guys, really force them back and annoy them, do as much damage as I can. And we are actually getting some damage on the tower now, and it's giving Baikal the opportunity to stack a camp as well, which is nice. Stack a camp and a ward. This is very, very good support play from him, especially for someone who's so inexperienced. We didn't tell him to do that. He was just like running along. He was like, hey, I can stack this camp. and place a ward. So he did, which is very, very useful. So the reason I'm picking up an urn is because I'm going to try and be as active as possible. I can see in that first gank there that I have the ability to get these kills out. Very, very dangerous for Slayer then, that was really close. He probably should not have Gloves of Haste, he should have Boots instead. And it looks like he might have to go back to base or something now. But again, trying to pick up creeps here. I've picked up the Troll Tree creep, and I think as soon as I get this, yeah, I'm going to go off maybe to look for another gank again. I was thinking maybe I'll go mid. Did see that the rune was bot. Told Ollie that there was a regen there. I think the ward saw that as well anyway, so, you know. But looks like me and Ollie are going to come bot for this double person gank. I'm also going to pick up an Alpha Wolf at this point, just because the Alpha Wolf aura does give us that little bit of extra damage. Be very, very useful for the early damage aura. However, the people on the bot lane, we thought they had a ward. I don't think they have a ward, they're just playing very, very safe, trying to play scared now because they know, A, I'm in jungle, and I could be dangerous, as well as this. They don't want to go on a dual lane and contest and fight against a dual lane when the mid solo is also missing. So me and Ollie are threats at this point. So, you know, 2v4 situation, they don't want that. And throw out the net. This person came up the high ground here, so it was really, really dumb move from him. We're going to try and chase after this guy. My macro fails me here. I blocked myself in. I don't think we're going to get him anyway, but like I said, this is not me owning on the hero. I am far from excellent on this hero. Luckily, Baikal came up, put a slow and a frostbite on the centaur there, and we do still manage to get the kill. Not quite picked up my thing from the courier. I think I might upgrade the courier right now. No, I'm trying to get my treads now. There is an argument for getting arcane boots on Enchantress. The reason for this is because, like I said, you don't suffer from mana issues in the early portion of the game. However, your ultimate impetus is a unique attack modifier, and it does that extra pure damage. I think it's pure damage. Yeah, pure damage based on how far away the enemy is. 25% of how far they are away in units. Now, if you don't know how the unit works, say about here to here is maybe 1,000 units, so you can do 25% of that if you're hitting people from really far away. Actually, maybe it's not that far, maybe it's more like there to there. So if I throw an impetus and it hits someone when they're here, obviously they'll have to run away and like force staff themselves away to manage that, but it's certainly possible. Ollie's just using his illusions to try and harass there. I was going to try and go in for a gank with this centaur maybe, or even just a push, whatever. Floats our boat. Get a slow off on this person. Looks like we're going to go on for them here. Slayer jumps in, run in, throw the centaur stun as well, and we get the kill on them. Baikal actually picks it up, which is fine. I'm going to try and keep the centaur alive. Did A click him, you can see there. The reason I'm trying to keep the centaur alive is lots of these creeps, the centaur, the what's another one? The satire, the big satire, give auras that help with pushing. The centaur gives an attack speed aura to all the creeps and our heroes, which means it's very, very useful for pushing this lane. And it looks like to them, obviously we have 4 heroes there. I mean, it doesn't look exactly like we have 4 heroes there because there's a hero very obviously mid. But we are trying to take this tower, push this tower. It gives Slayer a little bit more space. Like I said, he is not used to playing anti-mage, and personally I think he makes quite a lot of this, mistakes in this game, but that's not my problem, because luckily, unlike Chen, again, the Enchantress should be compared to Chen. They are pretty much counterparts to each other. It happens a lot with some Dota heroes. It's like Skeleton King and Sven, they're very, very similar, both in looks and just how they operate as heroes. They're both sort of carry heroes that do a lot of damage, with a big sword and a stun. But Chen does not have any carry potential, obviously. Enchantress does have some pretty huge carry potential, especially if you get an Aghanim's Scepter, which will increase her basic range, as well as the damage that Impetus does. You can also get things like, because she's an int hero that does a lot of damage and you can get a lot of stats on her, you can get things like an Orchid. Orchid's very, very good on her. I think that's an item that I'll go for later in the game. Why is that courier there? I'm very, very confused. Maybe Ollie wanted it? I don't know. Either way, So I've finished my treads now, as well as my thing, and this Zeus was trying to go for a gank out of position here. So we go for this kill on him. I'm going to use my centaur to stun them both here. They're going to try and go for a kill. They are going to get a bit of extra damage on Slayer. He's going to be really, really careful in this situation. And Ollie's going to drop the rock and we're going to secure both these kills. Really, really good play to... you can see just how active I've been around the map. I've got 1 kill and 5 assists. This isn't particularly us doing amazing or outplaying them and stuff or anything. This is simply the way that this hero should be used, and you can see I'm already using my Earn Charge as well as my Nature's Tendency to heal myself up, as well as pick up myself an Alpha Wolf. Alpha Wolf will give everybody Pack Leader's Aura, which is 30% extra bonus damage, which isn't a huge amount in the early game. It's very useful later on, and that just means that we can take this tower really easily. We're going to see if we can push this with the golem, myself, and the rest of them, but everybody else is going to back off. I'm just going to leave this now. We're just trying to get a little bit extra damage on. We don't think they're going to manage to pick up the wall on golem, but I think the centaur does actually manage to get a last hit there, which is kind of a mistake, I guess, but it's not really a problem. You don't want to feed it a lot, but feeding it once or twice a game, it's not a huge deal. So, level 7, let's look over my skill build. I've got 1 in Nature's Attendance, which isn't a huge amount, honestly not that great. It's only 30 heal per second. It can work fairly usefully in a situation in which I'm being ganked. For instance, this situation in which I'm about to get completely fucked by a Nyx with a Nyx inside of him. Nope, he's given up and decided to completely fuck Ollie. Ollie is confirmed 100,000,000% dead there. There's absolutely nothing he can do, other than the fact that, you know, be stationed much further back in a much safer place. Oh, this is another useful creep for pushing Toughness Aura from the Wild Wing Ripper. Is that what they call it now? The Wild Wing Ripper? I think it used to have a different name. Doesn't matter, either way, that is currently its name, and I did not know this person was here. However, I'm going to just keep moving on them. It's really, really bad if you don't have the mana to nuke down an Enchantress. You do not want to fight her. The reason for this is because, first of all, Enchantress is healing over time and stuff, and her attack over time. I'm going to try and block them there with the Wild Wing, but I ran into the other creeps while I was trying to block him with the big bird, and because of that, the Zeus was still in range to kill me, which is kind of annoying, but it doesn't matter a huge amount. It looks like the Zeus is going for an Orchid, maybe an Orchid Rush. I guess that's the only reason I can think of in which you get 2 Sage's Mask, and you two are really, really stupid, and you thought that would somehow be efficient. But I thought this was a Battle Fury Rush from Slayer. Not a terribly badly timed Battle Fury. It certainly wouldn't have been bad, would have been good to get, but he's going to go for a Vanguard, which isn't personally my idea of a good item on an anti-mage, but I mean it works. It's definitely a doable item build. It's not very common now. Almost every single anti-mage now rushes a Battle Fury for pretty good reason, and Slayer is way out of position here. He's been really, really cocky trying to pick up his Voidstone from the enemy thing, even though they have heroes like Nyx Assassin and Invoker on the field. So during the meantime, I picked up myself a magic wand just because burst heals of any type on Enchantress are really, really useful. I'm not going to get a mech this game. I normally would, but I'm going to leave it for somebody else. I was trying to stack this camp here, but I was a little bit late because I hadn't quite noticed the time, and it was like, oh shit, I better go stack. But either way, got myself some treads, got myself an Urn of Shadows, and it looks like, what am I doing right now? I might be looking through the shop or tabbed out or something, I guess. I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm getting ready to maybe make a gank on the mid with Ollie here. But the Tidehunter is annoyingly showed, so my attempt to maybe create something out of that is failed. We might go and we do have Warlock Golems up, or Chaotic Offering, just call it Warlock Golem. We do have that up, which does mean we do have the opportunity to maybe push forward with that, and again, this is badly wasting my time here. This is a mistake, but luckily I make enough good plays to sort of make up for it. That's a mistake as well. I accidentally kicked the Hill Troll rather than the Dark Troll Summoner. What? That used to be Dark Troll Warlord. I guess because what Troll Warlords in the game, they can't really call it a Dark Troll Warlord because it would just seem stupid, but I accidentally enchanted the wrong creep there. So, looks like I was going to go help out with that, but I see a double damage rune. In the early portion of the game, I would say generally, if you find double damage runes and stuff, Enchantress is a really good candidate for them. She does have pretty good base damage. Her attack damage is actually fairly random, 71 to 81, it's like Chaos Knights. It does not stack with impetus, which means your basic attack will do 76 plus 76, and then impetus is on top of it. So, I mean, you're not going to do huge amount of damage, but you are going to do something like that, which is a really, really big amount of damage. And you can see how useful Enchantress is in a ganking situation. He was just a little bit out of position. He was just in range of enchantment. I could slow him down by 50% because enchant can be used on creeps as well as on enemies. If you use it on heroes, you'll slow them 5.5 seconds of 50% of slow. That's pretty crippling slow, especially against a hero that when you're further away from them does more damage. So I'm at about 1,200 gold here. I'm going to pick up myself a point booster here. I was thinking of going for a mech, but I was going to leave Baikal to do that, I think. The reason for that is just because it will give something a little bit more for Baikal to do. He's not very used to the hero, and a Crystal Maiden doesn't really have much that they can do. I mean, he's already building straight into a mech. You don't need a boots upgrade on her, so he may as well go pretty much straight mech and wards, as well as a bracer for a little bit extra health and survivability. And I said to Wally here, you know, I have a Wild Wing, why not push this down? It'll give us a bit of extra health. As well as that, you can use the Tornado. Tornado is the active spell of the Wild Wing. Just a little useful harassment spell. Does some fairly good damage over time. It's pretty good damage over time. And I've accidentally put my impetus on autocast. You'll see me do this lots. I accidentally put my impetus on autocast all the time. They have an invis rune, and this is going to be a huge initiative from them. Probably should have Ravage up. If we'd had Ravage up when we went for that push, we should have waited, basically. Waited for the Ravage so that when we came for that push, even if they brought 5, we could still have survived. Because we didn't have Ravage up, because we didn't have Chaotic Offering up, we didn't have a big AoE stun that we could throw out on them, and because of that we do die for it. They have not upgraded their courier yet. That is a pretty big mistake. You should always upgrade your courier if you can. So we are on kind of a ticking time bomb here. We haven't noticed him much. He has been top lane pretty much the entire time. We've shut down the Centaur and the Invoker pretty well, as well as this. The Zeus just did pretty badly against Ollie. I would say Ollie won the lane fairly convincingly. Yeah, just looking at the bomb, Ollie lost fairly convincingly. However, Slayer isn't going to completely solo carry this game on Anti-Mage. That's just a fact of life. That's a really nice Ravage there to get off. Throwing off a Urn of Shadows as well as putting some right clicks on that guy was really useful in that fight. Not a huge amount I could have done in that fight. I should have maybe used Enchant on a few other people who are more likely to get away. The Nyx Assassin and the Invoker. It would have been nice to get a kill on the Invoker. I don't know, what the hell is the Invoker going for? I guess this is Treads? Is it Treads with the alternate? Treads has alternate like build things basically, and we're gonna get this kill I think on the Nyx Assassin here. I thought he had TP'd out at this point because I thought I'd gone in there, seen him, and he TP'd out, but it turns out he did not have a TP, so that was again a mistake, and Slayer shit-talking them because that's the sort of thing Slayer does. Even though he's not an amazing player himself, it is definitely, he definitely finds it enjoyable to shit-talk a kill. Now, something you'll see me doing there is attack moving. That's basically when you attack, move, and attack. I know, surprise, right? But basically, when you normally attack, your hero has a sort of a backswing. After you attack the first time, your hero will basically again swing back and then re-going for another time. By the way, I picked up an ogre club instead of my point booster first because I died before I had the money or the time to get to the thing. And again, autocast. Do not have autocast on your thing unless it's very, very late game and you have a pretty damn big mana pool as well as some pretty damn good mana regen. My Urn of Shadows Treads is not going to be enough mana regen to save me, and I'm just sitting here covering Slayer at this point. We do want Slayer to get farmed. I was saying to him at this point, you know, you shouldn't go Vanguard, you should just get like Battle Fury and just farm like the entire map really, really fast, because we want you to out-carry rather than fight early. But sadly that's not going to happen, so we have to worry about this Life Stealer. Life Stealer is currently going to gank. He went for fast Midas into an armlet. Obviously Slayer didn't have the opportunity to go for Midas or anything because his lane was contested. It's good that he didn't go for Midas or anything. But basically he's going straight into a Basher afterwards, and this is going to be a real problem for Slayer later in the game, because unless Slayer has absolutely huge items and just cannot be killed with like a butterfly as well as a heart, Manta style, treads, what else do you have? Like an Aegis and stuff. Unless he has all of that, he is not going to be able to out-carry against Nyx. Nyx is not a particularly great carry for dealing with anti-mage, however, you can see he is able to certainly deal with him, and it looks like we thought Slayer was going to die here. I was pretty convinced he was dead, but he is going to manage to make out. They didn't bring in any more support. Slayer's just going to blink away and go straight back to base, heal, and then come back for farming. In the meantime, I've gone top. I've stolen myself a dire range creep. The reason I steal a range creep in a push where I don't have access to a jungle, it's kind of inefficient and probably shouldn't bother doing it. It's kind of stupid. But the reason that I took the range creep is they have higher DPS than a melee creep, and I am getting ganked here. However, you're going to see an amazing thing about Enchantress here. Put on my heal, run away for a little bit, block him off a little bit with that, and throw myself an urn. And suddenly this fight's looking harder and harder for the Nyx Assassin to win. He doesn't have his thing. Ollie's going to put damage over time on him, but he's pretty much forced out of this fight. Luckily Baikal was here and we're going to turn this around and get a kill on him. So that just shows just how able Enchantress is in this situation. I've also got a couple of levels of Untouchable. That helped slow him down as well. It slowed down his attack animation, his attack speed, and that's going to mean that I was able to pick up the point booster now. So I'm getting fairly tanky considering Enchantress is known for being extremely squishy. Obviously the later and later the game gets, I am going to stay squishy, because at the moment the reason I'm tanky is because I have two fairly good items for health, adding 10 strength, which is, let me just see, points gained, each point increases hit points per, so it's 190 strength plus 200 health, so a good 300, 400, almost 400 health there from just an Ogre Club point boost. I also have Treads, an Urn, and Magic Wand. All of these things are really good early stats and early survivability and health, so I actually have more health than Ollie, who actually has a really good attribute level for health. So we knew that they were in our jungle. At least one of them had gone back recently because the Life Stealer had basically sort of semi-lost a fight on, had a hard fight with someone, so we were trying to get this kill there. I was really worried that that guy had a Nyx inside him. As soon as I saw that he didn't just go straight in Vendetta hit me with an Impale and mana burn me with an Nyx come straight out, I knew that obviously there wasn't an Nyx in. Sadly, in that time of indecision, he did manage to get a... he really hit that creep hard then. That was a Vendetta hit on a creep. He should have just used that on one of us and then backed off with Spike Carapace, but that doesn't particularly matter. But he was able to get a deny on the tower. That was pretty important. Denies are worth around 800 gold for the entire team, which is a pretty sharp amount. I mean, look at the gold graph. I mean, that this is in our favour just by a little bit. If that was 800 gold, it would be up here. Which would be a really nice place for it to be. We'd like it more like here. This is about the time that we started pushing towers and making real fights on them. I think this is probably where they won that team fight mid, but overall we're consistently winning this game. Not by a huge amount or anything, not by anything amazing. They are actually getting much better XP than us. which is probably just the case of the fact that our supports are much less greedy than theirs and much less able than theirs. Baikal is, like I said, not used to this, and we told him to max Arcane Aura just to help me out, Ollie out, generally all of us, as well as the fact that Enchantress, Crystal Maiden becomes a feed hero after about 20-30 minutes, very, very simply, and I'm picking up dust here as well because in that last fight, that guy is fighting Ancients. I don't think he's strong enough to fight Ancients, but then, but in that last fight you can see how the Nyx Assassin was able to get away from us because of Vendetta, and this is a really bad situation here. We were thinking of moving in for a push. I think they said something around along the lines of, I think we saw one coming in, I can't really remember, but I think we were worrying about baiting them out. No, it looks like I was just doing nothing here. Ollie gets hit by pretty much a random Sunstrike there, and we know that they are in the area. Baikal's going to get attacked and he's going to die. Luckily for us, we'd much rather Baikal died, and Ollie has managed to pick up his Refresher Orb now. It's a really, really quick Refresher Orb, and that was a terrible, terrible Tide ulti. That was fucking dick. That was completely useless. Absolutely awful Tide ulti. Which is kind of suckish, because if the Tidal had been a little bit more sensible with his play, he would maybe have got that guy. But it looks like we're trying to get the Zeus now. We're going to make his kill. It's an absolute guaranteed kill. Luckily, I'm now 6-2 and 6. I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking about trying to carry this game. That's kind of why I picked Enchantress this game. I thought, hey, Slayer and Baikal are probably going to need help in their dual lane. I do have carry potential on Enchantress. Impetus does do a huge amount of damage. You can get really, really good damage items on her because just the way the hero works. I mean, she has fairly good agility gain, but huge, huge intelligence gain. 2.8 is a really, really nice intelligence gain. Well, I mean, it's not huge. It's not Pugna huge. It's not. This is no 4.2 intelligence gain, but it's pretty damn big. I think that's Pugna's int gain. Anyway. But looks like there's a double damage rune bot, and I think I'm gonna go pick that up as well as farming at the same time. But then Slayer's like, nope, I wanted this, and I'm gonna leave it just because it's gonna help him farm just that a little bit faster, and we are kind of still relying on him to farm a win at this point, obviously, but it's gonna come down to me in the end to get us this win. So I picked up a dust and a staff of wizardry. I really want this dust on myself. Maybe I just haven't got used to the career yet, or maybe I'm waiting for no reason. Yeah, it looks like I picked up a TP as well, and I'm sending myself everything on the career. Obviously, I can't hold it all because I only have one slot left. When I finish my Aghanims, I'll have a lot more slots, but for the moment, I'll just hold the dust on me. That would be of a lot more immediate usefulness than a TP scroll. Well, not technically a lot more immediate usefulness than a TP scroll, but a lot more usefulness than thing. But it looks like I just put the dust on myself. It's probably a mistake. No, I just put the TP scroll on myself. I mean, TPs are very, very useful for counter push, obviously, and we are kind of a little bit worried at this point about losing any more towers because we have lost all of our 3 outer towers, and that's kind of a problem. And it looks like the Invoker's just throwing out random Sunstrikes at this point. And Slayer and Baikal are sitting here in ambush waiting while we do a 3-person push on the middle lane. I guess this is just because we were just trying to see how much they were going to throw out on us and just how many people they were going to use. And it looks like they're going to use everyone. We do get a great Tide ulti, as well as a pretty good freezing field for a fairly long while there. I'm going to try and reset myself out of the fight. We do manage to keep me and Slayer alive. The Invoker and the Zeus are alive on their team, but we're going to try and get this kill here. It is kind of crazy, really, really dangerous. I knew that saw the Invoker use a Sunstrike there, so I dodged out of the way of that, but he's going to manage to make it away using a drum charge. He is going to manage to run away. If he hadn't done, otherwise they wouldn't have got away. And Slayer's moving a little bit too aggressively for my liking. I said at this point, but let's just take the tower. Ollie said the same thing. We said, like, screw this. Why are we bothering with this? Let's just take the tower. If he moves too close, if he moves in range of Enchant, then fine, we'll kill him. But until that point, there's no point trying to kill him, and it looks like he's trying to go for a proper carry invoker build at this point, with very, very high points up in Exort and Wex, no points up in Quas. This is a massive mistake in my opinion. You really, really shouldn't do that. Quas is so useful, get like 4 points of it. You can get yourself 2 Forged Spirits and stuff. I think Forged Spirits work higher Quas, don't they? Yeah, yeah, they do. EEQ, so that is 2 Exort and a wet Quas. Really, in my opinion, that would be pretty useful to get. And someone's going to get ganked because they have an Nyx Assassin on their team, which is totally... Well, I wouldn't say it's a super Ember hero anymore, but it's definitely a very, very strong hero still, and will be a strong hero for a while. And they're going to try and get our Flying Courier there, but unlike them, we have a Flying Courier, and those fools don't have Flying Courier. Always upgrade your Courier, guys. It's so important. It really, really is. It makes a huge difference, not just to how fast you get your items, because obviously they can go like over terrain and stuff. It also makes a difference to how just survivable they are. Any walking Courier will die to a single hit from any hero in the game. That's a fact. Anyone can kill a walking Courier. It's 45 health. Friggin' Crystal Maiden with 1 right click will kill a walking Courier. Creeps will not kill a walking Courier in 1 hit. They will take 2 to 3 hits. But you should be fucking scared of the idea of just having a walking Courier on the ground. It really, really is dangerous, especially for mid lanes. It's very, very possible, and in the current meta, it's very, very common for supports to go around, sit up on this sort of high ground, or this sort of high ground, and just sort of wait for a Courier at sort of 1 to 2 minutes, and just try for a kill there. And it looks like they're up on this high ground here, and everyone's going to try and get a kill on there. The Zeus is going to throw out an ulti, but that's not really going to do much. Where the hell am I in this fight? Yeah, I was a little bit slow. I'm trying to make it. He's going to slow down this Centaur though after he tries to initiate. He doesn't get a good stun on everyone, and that's going to put me dominating now. I'm now 7-2 and 8. Like I said, this isn't me particularly playing hugely well. It's just the fact that I have pretty good damage, and I'm fairly good at Enchantress. I mean, I'm not sitting here going to say, oh, I suck at this hero. You shouldn't don't think I suck at this hero. I'm pretty good at this hero. I enjoy this hero a lot. Certainly for my skills here, it's one of my better heroes. And my macro's improving a lot as well. But I still do make a lot of mistakes on this hero. This is what a lot of people find daunting about Chen and Enchantress. They're like, oh, like Chen and Enchantress are really, really hard heroes because you have to micro creep as well. If that's your problem, then just go for Enchantress, because Chen, you're more likely to use multiple creeps. It's very, very common to use 4 creeps. Is it 4? I think it maxes out at 3 or 4. I thought the Nyx was here, but he's not. And Baikal should buy his recipe to his thing. Sadly, we thought the Nyx wasn't here, and we're like, okay, it's safe, we can take the Aegis then. That's cool. I left it for Ollie, and then Nyx Assassin stole the Aegis, which is kind of annoying. It's funny as well, because they were like, oh, we'll have a nice clean fair fight, and they have a Nyx and a Nyx. Like, how is that clean and fair? And you stole our Aegis. That's not clean and fair. You're just mean. Looks like Slayer's Baikal's just trying to sap a little bit of XP there. It's kind of useful for him. It's one thing to note is that you will not get that much XP from just sitting jungling. You shouldn't just sit AFK jungling on Enchantress. It's not like an Enigma. The reason for this is because obviously the big creep that you're getting every time, you don't get like he becomes your own creep. He doesn't die, and you don't get experience or gold for him. Whereas on Enigma, you turn him into other stuff by killing him, and you get a lot more from that. And I've finished up my Aghanim Scepter now. Now I'm going to look at this. It increases attack range and cast range of impetus. It does not in fact increase the damage of it, but because its damage is based on range, it does in reality increase the damage of it, because you can throw it from a lot farther. You can throw your little speary sticks. I don't know whether to call them spears or not. Like, they don't look like spears. At this point I've ceased attack moving on the creeps because I've gotten lazy, basically, using my stun to get myself a little bit extra. And you can see the effect of Untouchable now that I'm starting to get to a point where I think I might be carrying this game. I have got Untouchable. The reason for this is very, very effective versus Nyx. Nyx's most damage is basically based off his attack speed. I'm asking someone to come down bot here, but then I was just like, oh fuck it, this Zeus does not have the capacity to kill me. If he's going to try and kill me, I can earn myself and Nature's Attendants myself. That was in fact extremely cocky of me, and this is a very, very dangerous situation for me. That Nyx assassin though, luckily, again, Untouchable saves me. I tried to dodge that thing as well, and we're going to get a kill on this Nyx assassin here. Ollie's slowing him down really, really hard. Kind of worried about this fight, but he's going to be slowed really hard. It looks like Ollie's probably going to get killed in this fight, but I'm just going to get as much damage down. Sadly, Ollie does get killed. He even had his Necros and the whole creep wave attacking, but it just wasn't quite enough. We were just a little bit behind being able to kill him in time, so we do lose Baikal, and Ollie, which is kind of annoying, but we kill the Nyx assassin and Zeus, as well as gets a couple of kills on me, and then Slayer feeds mid lane, because he's Slayer. Poor Slayer. His positioning is just bad. He knows it is. He might even watch this and be like, my positioning isn't bad, but Slayer, your positioning's bad. I don't know if he'll watch this or not. Maybe he doesn't want to learn, but yeah, this is how to play Enchantress. Guys, you should generally be looking to do things very, very strong in the early game. Obviously, if you don't get super strong in the early game and you don't die very few times like I am, you shouldn't be trying to carry. You should be getting things more like mech, more like arcane boots. You should be worrying less about carrying the game and much, much more about carrying your team and keeping your team alive. When I say carrying your team, I mean keeping them alive and supporting them, rather than trying to carry the entire game and do huge amounts of damage to the enemy team and just win. So, early game, get stats, get high levels of Enchant, maybe some levels of Nature's Attendants, although I don't personally think it's very necessary to even get more than one level of Nature's Attendants. I mean, it does scale pretty well. It does scale it fantastically well, in fact. But during the early portion of the game, your job isn't really to keep people alive. It's to go aggressive and gank with creeps plus right clicks plus a bit of an enchant. Late game, if you are carrying, if you are worried about people right clicking you and doing a lot of damage like that, get yourself Untouchable. If you've got more items, if you've got yourself let items like Aghanim Scepter, like a Treads, like an Urn, Magic Wand, all of these add a lot of survivability to me. If you haven't got all of those sorts of items, then don't worry too much, and they go for a really, really nice initiation on us there. But you can see I popped Nature's Attendants as soon as this fight started, because I was just so worried about having to die against them, because I knew that at some point someone was going to try and do some serious damage to me. But we were able to counter-initiate. Ollie did a great job of counter-initiating with his ulti, using Refresher Orb and then doubling it up, and we're making a really, really nice push. He's gone for a really cheesy build this game, but it's a very effective cheesy build. He's got Refresher Orb, Necronomicon, 3, Necro Book level 3, and we're going to manage to get this kill here, and I'm going to heal up Slayer and myself and grab myself an extra group, and we're going to try and push this into as much as we can. The Zeus is back on the field. We are a little bit worried about where the Zeus is. Maybe he's managed to get himself an Aghanim Scepter. I don't know what the hell the double early Sage's Mask was on about. He's had a really, really inefficient build this game. You should basically just rush Aghanim Scepter unless you're going to get a Force Staff and a Bottle. Bottle is something that you probably should get. But Aghanim Scepter, again, something that isn't like you don't need to get 2 Sage's Mask before that and then sell them later in the game. But again, you can see just the effect that Untouchable is going to have when people are going to try and right click me. It slows down not just their actual attack speed, but their animation, which is part of their attack speed. This means that things like the Nyx Assassin is going to struggle to actually right click me, and to further add insult to injury for this, I'm adding ice armor onto myself, and you can see just how slowly these golems attack here. I probably should be keeping this Ogre Frost Mage alive, but just see how slowly these ogres attack. Their attacks are, if these ogres were affected by Untouchable as well, the slow on them would be around 250 attack speed slow. And this Nyx Assassin is going to try and maybe gank me here. I think he's thinking about it. I'm not sure whether it would be sensible for him to do it. We'll see. I think he probably is going to do it. He has a Dagon level 2, which isn't particularly effective. He shouldn't do that. And it looks like he's going for a mech for his team. But if they coordinate a gank like that, so it looks like there's some pretty good coordination on their team. The Invoker did Sunstrike me there, and he's doing some pretty sick damage. He is doing some pretty scary right clicks. He's doing what, plus 142 there? Yeah, 101 plus 142. That's some pretty scary stuff. Compare that to Slayer. Yeah, he's doing way more damage than Slayer is. He's doing way more damage than anybody on our team is. Even me with some impetus I'm not going to do anywhere near that damage. I do some pretty damn good damage with impetus, especially at long range. Now, one thing I do want to talk about will be with that guy has such high attack speed. Oh my god, he bought Hyperstone. Oh yeah, I remember this. He refused to get Blink. He just did not want to get Blink. Get a fucking Blink. Like, seriously, dude. But he's going... He got Hood, he got Soul Ring, got Arcane Boots, that's normal, and then he's going to get like Assault Cuirass. Like, that's really not normal. And Slayer plus this guy are trying to get a gank on the Lifestealer now, but this is really dangerous. Look how strong this Lifestealer is. He could turn around, pop PKB, and just beat the shit out of Slayer at this point. And I don't think he realised just how able he is to beat the shit out of Slayer. And Slayer went for a Battle Fury at this point, and they've been like, oh, you should have got a Battle Fury, you should have got Battle Fury. This is another thing about Battle Fury. If you're going to get a Battle Fury, get a Battle Fury early. Ideally, before the 20-minute mark. Pro players are expected to get it sometimes even as low as the 12-minute mark. 16 is sort of an average Battle Fury time. An average player should, if he's playing well, be able to get that. An average player. And that might sound really, really early, but you literally rush a Battle Fury. Maybe get treads on top of it as well. I personally like getting yourself some treads or some Tranquil Boots on top of it first, and it looks like they're going to go again for a gank on the middle lane. But I'm going to throw down my Orchid, try and do everything I can, just trying to keep everybody alive here at this point. And then now I'm trying to keep myself alive as well, because Ollie has already gone down. And you can see just how much extra pure damage I'm doing. I'm doing around 200 pure damage at that range. And when someone goes on, let's see how much damage that does. 262. So this is pretty much a confirmed kill. I throw my Orchid on the guy just to make sure he doesn't do any funny business, and I leave the kill for Slayer as well, because he is the proper carry. He's the actual carry of this team. I mean, I'm going to be carrying the game because I'm actually doing probably more damage at this point, but you know, this time I don't leave the kill for him because I was like, no, fuck you. You jumped in for that. That was blatantly my solo kill. You need to try and steal that. But it looks like we're trying to push the middle lane out now. Got ourselves a nice big creep wave, and that is one thing that this late Battle Fury is doing for Slayer. It is meaning that he can push out the lanes very, very effective, but it's not very good versus Nakes. He probably, if he wanted to directly engage the Nakes, which, I mean, getting a Vanguard means you want to try and do, he should maybe have gone for something like a Basher himself. He should go Basher himself, basically, or an Abyssal Blade. And then that would really, really help him versus this Nakes. But you can see just how fat this Nakes is right now. He has BKB. He's going straight for a, oh god, what's the name of it? A Satanic, which will give him a burst 125% lifesteal. No, 250% lifesteal. It's a huge, huge burst of lifesteal. And after getting that kill there, I'm really wanted to try and get out. I was going to try and juke around this way, but there was absolutely no way I was getting it. You can see the effect though of my thing. It meant that the Lifestealer was attacking so slowly he couldn't even take it. But he's got Armlet, Basher. He's going for, he's almost got, he's like 200 gold away from having, 100 gold away from having a Satanic at this point. And he is going to beat the shit out of Slayer in a basic fight, because combined with Rage and Black King Bar, he can use these for around 24 seconds of pretty much continuous immunity from magic. If he uses his Rage, that'll last for 6 seconds and be up again in 15. He can then use Black King Bar for 7 seconds, so he'll have to wait again about 6-7 seconds before using Rage again, and then he'll have to wait a pretty long time, 65 seconds at the moment, to use his Black King Bar again. But they do secure an Aegis at this point, and I think they were What did he drop to take that? He dropped his Hand of Midas, so he should just sell that at the side shop. You can actually sell it by sitting in this little cranny here. But this Snakes is really, really fat. I mean, he's only died 3 times, he's got 9 kills, 10 assists. That is a score rivaling my own at this point. I mean, I would say he's pretty much in the same level as I am as far as fatness, except he was able to farm the safe lane. I was farming the jungle on a hero that farms the jungle fairly inefficiently. Slayer, on the other hand, has Mantis Star, Battle Fury, Vanguard, Shreds, and is building into probably eventually a Satanic or something, which would be a good option. But right now, he's probably not his ideal thing. He needs an offensive damage item, I would say, but then he needs defensive items as well. He needs a lot right now. But using my Orchid on that guy, and you're going to see just how much, look how much that guy lifesteals. With Satanic, he is a huge, huge threat, and as soon as this guy comes up, I was trying to get myself off into a position a little bit further off. We're going to wait until he's starting to run. Slayer should be backing out about now. Yeah, that's kind of good, but he does get bashed. It's a bit of a problem. And I decided to screw the lifestealer. I'm going to kill his support, we'll isolate him, and then we can kite him. That's probably the best way of dealing with a Nax. The reason for this is because Nax is a melee hero, and he's not a particularly fast melee hero. Other heroes are, it's not feasible to get mobility items on him. You need damage and tank items on him, and because of that, it's very, very easy to kite. And now with their entire team down after that fight, the only ones up are myself, Baikal, and the Tidehunter, and we're just going to push as aggressively as possible. We do still have Ollie's Golems and his Necronomicons, but they time out just before we get to the base, and we're just going to do as much damage. In a situation like this, we are handed an opportunity. If the entire team's gone on their team, no matter how few many people you are, unless you're on absolutely no health and they could buy back and Zeus ult at you, or Sunstrike you or something, then just push, just go for a push, because even with these 2 heroes up, they need more than that to try and kill us here. And the Tide overextended a little bit. He waited far too long to run away, so I'm just going to say goodbye, Tide. I'm sorry, I'll leave you. We did almost kill this tower. It's in deny range, but I don't think they'll deny it. Are they going to deny it? Maybe. It doesn't look like they're going to deny it because it's a tier 3 tower. Quite often you will see people deny, but in this case they're not going to. And I'm going to pick myself up a haste rune. I'm not going to make much use of it. Now, at this point in the game, I'm kind of running out of ideas as far as items to do. Never really got onto this stage where, look at that animation. That's a cool ass animation for somebody running. And look how slow their attack speed is. But I'm kind of worrying at this point because there aren't that many good intelligence carry items. I could get something like a sheep stick or anything, but because my health is still kind of low, I'm still worrying about being able to just turn Impetus on and just attack away for the rest of the game, putting it on auto cast. So I'm going to go for a Bloodstone at this point. It's not an amazing item on you, but it will give you a pretty large amount of tanks. One thing that people forget about Bloodstone, it's not just a huge mana item, it's also a huge tank item. Really, really effective tanking. It gives you let me see, wow, I can't just click on it like I normally would in game, but Bloodstone gives you 500 health, 400 mana, 9 HP per second, as well as 200 mana regen, 200% mana regen, as well as the whole Bloodstone charge mechanic that I'm not going to explain exactly, but basically more charges equals more mana. More mana is good. Not that, you know, Bloodstone with the basic 6 or 7 charges, I think 6 charges is what you stand up with, but not that Bloodstone with 6 charges is not enough or anything, but Bloodstone with more charges is brilliant. That's why you get it on heroes that use up huge amounts of mana, like Timbersaw, Storm Spirit, and to an extent Enchantress. If you put your Impetus on a like an auto cast, it will use up a pretty huge amount of mana regeneration. And I thought this was a suicidal centaur, but it was actually a centaur with an illusion rune, so we're not going to get killed there. But we do see that they're on this high ground. It's kind of a bad situation for just run up the high ground there. We don't know if the rest of the team is behind them. As it turns out, they're not. They're over here. But the Zeus is going to double ulti, instantly kill our support Baikal, which is a problem because he's the one with the mech. And they're going to do a good initiation with a blink dagger, jump on top of me here. Ollie doesn't have the option to come and help me out. I just got burst down or anything. Nobody else really had the option to as well. The Tide did not ravage. Did he ravage? Yeah, it looks like he ravaged. It wasn't particularly effective. They were able to get a proper initiation off, and they aimed directly for me. You can see pretty much the Zeus aimed to kill off Slayer instantly, because he can pretty much do that with a double ulti. No, not Slayer, Baikal. Baikal does not have good health, but now that Ollie's got 2 sets of his agonimsed things up, he's just going to try and beat the shit out of Lifestealer and just mess with them. And this was really, really stupid by Slayer. This was an absolutely suicidal play. If he got bashed one more time in that fight, one more time bashed in that fight, and he would have died. If the Zeus had been up, he would have died. If the Invoker would have been up, he maybe would have died. So that was a really, really crazy play by Slayer, and it looks like he's going for a Vlad's after this. Not particularly crazy about this if he'd said, and you'd have Vlad's, can someone get a Vlad's? Maybe, you know, me, Ollie, Baikal, the Tide Hunter, all of those people could have picked up a Vlad's. Would have been useful, just in general for them. What the fuck is this Tide Hunter going for now? I think it's a refresher orb. Yeah, this is like game of refresher orbs. I remember saying this to Ollie. This game goes on really, really long, because we just simply lack the ability to just push into their base quite now, and we're still trying to farm up items, and their Nakes is huge, but they can't win team fights decisively enough to push even tier 3 towers or even racks. And even if they did push racks, we have very, very good heroes for defending on high ground. Crystal Maiden's pretty good at it, Anti-Mage is awesome for it, Warlock is great for it, Tide Hunter's great for it. So, I mean, they wouldn't... just because if someone just loses a Rax in this game, it is definitely not GG. A Rax in a game past 50 minutes against most teams with proper carries, as well as any AoE to speak of, pretty much is not a guaranteed kill, and Baikal is absolutely confirmed dead here. He does manage to get a thing off, and in fact, yeah, it looks like he's going to turn this around. Slayer's going to probably pick up the kill. Yeah, he throws out the ulti. Not a great decision given that he hadn't taken out much of the mana from, but it's not really a big deal. Mana Void's only on a 70-second cooldown, and it's not like it's a huge ulti that you need to worry about what it's using. I mean, obviously you can pretty much insta-kill some heroes with it, but only heroes who are either going to run out of mana or you've already been right-clicking. If you've already been right-clicking, then we're going to die anyway. As far as Orchid in this game, use of it is pretty much just whoever's initiating or trying to initiate, as well as people that were trying to focus down. In this fight, Ollie's just trying to use the Warlock's stun. For those of you who don't know, the Warlock's golems do the big sort of stun that comes for it. It only lasts for 1 second. It does actually stun through BKB, which means that it's very, very useful if you've got a refresher orb. Throw double of them over on the Nakes while he is trying to fight, because this Nakes is definitely basing his life off the ability to attack. I talked about this a little bit in my previous video, my Sven video. A lot of carries, Nakes is one of them, Sven is one of them, most of the strength carries are one of them. They absolutely require to be attacking to stay alive, because quite a lot of them are based off lifesteal. Quite a lot of even agi carries, I mean Faceless Void is one of them. He often requires to be attacking to stay alive. It's not quite the same on Void, but I'm just trying to get a little bit more extra damage on. You can see, however, any time that I'm trying to push people off or take Raxus or anything, we're trying to... I throw... Where's my hero? Lost my hero for a little bit then. Could have just clicked up here, but it doesn't matter a huge amount. So in these situations, whenever we're trying to finish off or harass someone back or push them off, I am using my Orchid on them. It is only on an 18-second cooldown, so it's not huge. If I use Orchid, Enchant, and then start, you can see I've put my impetus on autocast at this point, because I feel that my mana regen is definitely high enough. I mean, like I just went and arcanes me, like seriously dude, I have 2.3k mana regen, like mana at this point, plus like huge mana regen per second. I have like 150, 100%, like 200%, 350% mana regen, as well as a 2.34 4k mana pool, which is pretty huge. I picked up a double damage on myself We're hoping maybe to make something out of this now. Like just straight push down the mid lane. We did manage to take racks off that last fight. We did have to fall back though afterwards. We did not have the time to pull everybody else to us, and obviously people like Ollie and stuff who are very, very essential this game. Ollie provides a huge amount in these team fights. With Heaven's Halberd, he can stop someone attacking. He's also very tanky himself. Necronomicon makes him very tanky, allows him to do a lot of extra damage, a lot of extra push, as well as drain mana. And Refresher Orb, obviously, it's a huge team fight ulti that you can use twice. Like, how can that not be good? But at this point, I think we basically said, like, I think this is the time for us to try and win the game. Let's go up on their high ground. Let's take the fight to them. And I mean, because we don't have to worry so much about ward vision at this point in the game. I mean, obviously it's still a really important thing, but because we thought that, because we were like, oh, we don't need to worry a huge amount about ward vision, we can just, you know, like, go up against the lane. We haven't seen the Lifestealer. He's probably just sitting in his base scared. He had in fact snuck out with the Nyx Assassin in Vendetta, and they've got themselves an Aegis and Cheese, and it looks like, why the hell does that Nyx Assassin have that guy's Hand of Midas? It looks like these guys are like friends and stuff. I mean, you wouldn't do stuff like that. It wasn't for that fight. However, in the time that they're still trying to get here, we do initiate, make ourselves a team fight here. Now this is going to mean that, obviously, we've used up all our ultimates and things. We're kind of vulnerable to being attacked at this point. However, you can see just how we're able to kite him. As soon as that guy came up, I used Enchant on him, and as well as Orchid of 11th, and just a huge amount of damage. He wasn't able to do anything. And now the only one left on their team is an Invoker who's sitting way far back, because if he comes close he'll die. And ooh, there was a little bit of lag then. That guy died real fucking fast though to the Warlock columns. Those columns do a lot of damage, especially if they proc Flaming Fists. They just absolutely destroy you. But now I've picked up even more Bloodstone Charges. You can see I'm just putting impetus on autocast and trying to pick up this guy. And as soon as he gets locked in position for a few seconds, we are able to clean up, and Slayer does get the kill. Like I said, Basher, really, really useful versus these sort of carries that absolutely require to attack to win the game. So that was my introduction to Enchantress. You can see how in the early portion of the game, play your creep micro game, play StarCraft, make a lot of ganks happen. Well, that guy, it's funny because this guy was really, really bad compared to the rest of the people on their team. He's definitely, like, yeah, it means you're not competent on Invoker. That's just true. He wasn't competent on Invoker. Obviously the hero is just too high a skill level for him to play. But play your creep micro game in the early portions of the game. Use Enchant plus creeps to get yourself early kills. Turn those early kills into pushes. And you will eventually, hopefully, if things go well, like in this game, you'll get yourself enough items and enough money to start building up really big carry items like an Aghanim Scepter and an Orchid of 11th. Obviously, Aghanim's not a normal carry item, but Orchid of 11th is definitely a carry item. Orchid works as a carry item on Enchantress. So, GG, thanks for watching, and goodbye. I know this has been long, but sorry, the next one will be pretty short.